I want to tell you about somebody who made a choice that most people would never make. His name is Teddy Bloom. He's 37 years old, originally from Bay Village, Ohio, but now living in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where he works as an engineering technician for the New Mexico Department of Transportation. He's an accomplished athlete. He's competed in Ironman competitions and numerous triathlons. He's a runner, a cyclist, and somebody who believes deeply in the American dream. But in March of this year, Teddy had the realization. He was watching events unfold in America. College students being arrested for protesting, immigration issues escalating, and a nation becoming increasingly polarized. And he decided that he couldn't sit at home and watch it happen. So he did something radical. He took the money he had saved up to buy his first home and spent it on a bicycle and gear. On April 20th, he started riding from San Francisco, his destination, Washington, D.C. It was over 3,700 miles ago. He's been riding through some of the most extreme weather conditions imaginable. He's sustained injuries, broken equipment, and faced moments of doubt. But he keeps going because he's on a mission called Ride for Rights. And it's about something bigger than himself. Ride for Rights was built on 4 core values: free speech, the ability to share your political opinion without fear of retaliation; justice, ensuring that all people on American soil have access to fair systems regardless of citizenship status; education, teaching Americans about how their government actually works; and unity, finding common ground in an era of misinformation and division. What's remarkable about Teddy is not that he's writing or posting on social media. He's actually talking to people, having real conversations with Americans, and from all walks of life. And from those conversations, he's made fascinating observations about how divided we really are, not just politically, but in terms of the information we consume, the news we see, and the concerns we have about the country. He's an engineer, which means he thinks analytically. He's predicted infrastructure projects before they've announced. He's analyzed why certain regions worry about certain issues. He's brought all of that analytical thinking to bear on understanding the state of America in 2025. Teddy Bloom, thank you very much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I need you to do all my intros. That was very nice.
I can't take credit for it. My AIs definitely did the heavy working there. It was just
Okay.
bringing it out. So yeah, I want to get to your story a little bit. Can you tell me what was the final straw?
So it was honestly when he got elected. So the Trump's first term, I live in New Mexico. For your viewers that don't know, it's a border state with Mexico. Um, so there's quite a few. There's a lot. The population is very Latino, and then also there's a large Native American reservations all over the state. So it's an interesting community, even for America. So in his first term, there was a big issue with him deporting immigrants, but there was a thing of like a lot of those immigrants got snatched up at work, and then people found all these kids. So there was a ton of orphan kids, and they didn't like keep any records of the people. So I figured once he got elected a second time, it was going to get a lot worse in that area as well, and it has. So I wanted to do something like a protest early. I live in northern New Mexico. Northern New Mexico is like very dark blue politically, so more of like an anti-Trump protest was going to be preaching to the choir. So I was thinking like I wanted to do things outside of New Mexico. I wanted to do something that stuck out differently. And I was thinking like maybe I could run or walk across the country because I'm a runner. I do, that's
Mhm.
kind of my main thing. I was like, well, my knees would probably blow out and that would take forever. But I was like, I think I can ride a bike. I think I could do that. So I tried that. The concept you gave me the little intro, but the concept of it is I wanted to have like very clear goals at the beginning of the ride. So that's why I came up the ride for rights with the number 4. So it's 4 things that you need democracy to work. You need free speech so you can express your opinions and goals to your politicians so they know what you need and make good decisions. You need justice to protect your free speech. You need to be educated at like in the sense of you need to know what's going on, but also be educated enough to know a good solution for the problems you're having. And then unity, which we talked about as more of a feeling, but the mentality that you want to do something just to screw over other people has to end. When you're promoting something, it should be like for your benefit or for the benefit of other people. So that's
I,
kind of what we developed here.
I just want to touch in point here because you made two great points so that Canada and the UK are really struggling with right now is the freedom of speech part.
Hmm.
That censorship is coming our way and is massively in the UK right now. We're just better than everybody else.
Hmm.
That mentality has really hurt like our country as a culture too.
Yeah,
People don't really understand that that's not who a Canadian is, and that's who we've become. So I just wanted to touch that. Like this is the comparison and loss that you're fighting for that could come your way.
it came your way. I want to add to that point you just made. So I have a good friend from India, and they put it in a good perspective for me. Like America's so influential in media and influence around the world. When it kind of shades one way, the rest of the world kind of shades that way too. Because, like you said, there's a lot more. You guys in the Canada and the UK and in India too. There's getting to be more restrictions, which is obviously not a good trend to follow.
So can you just tell me a little bit why these resonate with you? Like why these four pillars resonate with you so much?
Again, I feel like the whole goal of the ride, it wasn't. It was what I was worried about is democracy kind of disintegrating in the US. So I wanted it to focus on specifically democracy. I wanted it not to be a liberal or conservative thing. It's just focusing on democracy. I have other opinions about plenty of stuff that's going on. I have thoughts. I'm not willing to ride across the country for those, but
Yeah.
I do believe if America keeps the democracy preserved, we're going to have problems, but it will be okay in the end. And that's kind of the idea. But yeah, I brainstormed it in kind of in my apartment and thought about it. I'm like, okay, this should work. This should be okay. And I feel like it's good encompassing. It's a very specific thing as well, which
Yeah.
I feel like was important than just general rage, which honestly I see a lot in social media and stuff like that. So yeah, basically to keep democracy but keep it focused. That was kind of the concept of it.
And can you touched on a point there, the non-social media rage. Can
Mhm.
you tell me how that differed from the people you met across the country?
Yeah, I learned quite a lot about how I thought of social media and people. What I went across the country was actually a very positive experience. That I talked to liberals, conservatives, everybody between, and people didn't always agree with me, but I got a level of like clout and respect because they appreciated what I was doing. And I think the idea of like riding your bike across the whole country by yourself is a very romantic idea to people. Older people are like, man, I wish I could have done that when I was younger. Other people are like, oh, that sounds great. Who did you meet? Like like every time I talk to someone, they honestly ask me a million questions about like what do you do, what's breaking, how do you, what bike do you even have, like just anything. So the protest in that sense worked because it was something so unique and people really were inquisitive about it. But no, the thing I did feel most Americans, there's a very the my what I liked about it was the amount of people that really are hardcore MAGAs and would be okay with going to fascism was a very small minority. Most everybody was very helpful. There was a lot of apathy, though. There definitely was a feeling like this is just going to blow over later, and I'm not going to do anything about it at the time. So that's kind of what I ran into most of. One of the interesting cities I ran into was Chicago. I got there in late July, so it was before the National Guard was sent to Chicago. And kind of what I realized there is like people were not happy about like giving ICE a side eye, but they kind of thought like, well, immigration must be really bad, so they didn't. But everybody was also annoyed by the tariffs, but like not angry, like just kind of vaguely annoyed. So a lot of the stuff you see on the rage bait you see on social media is not really how a lot of people feel, but people do think everybody else is raging. That
Yes.
is too, and that was interesting.
The interesting thought path I've kind of summed up is I believe that social media is kind of our collective conscious. Like
Hmm.
it's us to just be like, here's all our fears, here's all our thoughts, let's pontificate and it's just the
Hmm.
algorithms pointing it to hate. But in terms of um, actual rage bait and that type of thing, if you go talk to somebody, you're not going to have that same experience. It's all
Hmm.
people's thoughts, I think, more than
Yeah.
it is actually like how people feel.
And I do think growing on that point, I do think social media has a bigger issue. The algorithm definitely points in the direction of rage versus actual news and information about that, what's going on there. One of the points I wanted to bring up that happened recently is they declassified a lot of professions to be apprenticeships in the US. And then the stuff you read on social media is like, oh, he doesn't think you should go to college, which is completely wrong. One of the problems with that is it cuts funding for your graduate degrees, so you can't basically get people to get graduate degrees to be teachers. So like nursing, this is a huge problem because there's a shortage of nurses in the US. So I believe it was last year, 69,000 candidates who were qualified to be nurses in the US did not get accepted into college because of the lack of teachers. So the problem is with the nursing professions, they just don't have people to teach. But when they reclassified this to an apprenticeship, now it's going to be harder to get the education you need to be a teacher, and this is going to exacerbate a problem. But I had to talk to my friend who was a nurse to get all this information. Like I would have had no idea, and it wasn't in the news at all for just a normal person like me to absorb this. I had to go find someone essentially to tell me what this was about. So, but
It's
yeah.
funny. It's funny you mentioned that. My partner's a nurse up here, and our system's just as bad in terms of like we don't have nurses and things. And she's like, I don't understand what this means, but I don't care. Like she's like, I think everybody's rage was around the classification more than anything
Yeah.
else,
Mm-hmm.
which is meaningless because everybody knows you get more training on the job than you do in a classroom,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. Like I wouldn't be the coder I am today without my co-op.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. There is different classifications of nursing. So there's some where that makes a lot of sense, and there's others where like anesthesiology, like you really need to have like that graduate degree to know not kill people. But
fair.
at the same time, yeah, like my point is like the message was just lost of what this actually does, which it just cuts off funding and resources for people to get their graduate degree, which you definitely need a graduate degree to teach. Maybe not
Yes.
just to be a nurse, but to teach you have to have that body of knowledge. So
How did your engineering come into all of this? Like, why? I want to get into like how your analytical mind broke down this problem.
so I'm used to doing at my job, and this helped was a lot of pre-planning and like doing stuff on the fly. So I really looked at routes ahead of time. I could decipher roads of like looking at aerial shots and quickly be like, I should not take this one. This one's going to be crap, or this will be fine. And that works sometimes. Sometimes it's a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
States run. I work for the DOT, Department of Transportation. Each state has one, and they all run it differently. So there's a lot of different stuff. Like one of the weird things you'll never know unless you ride is Utah has kind of rough dirt roads. Colorado's dirt roads are a little better. Kansas's were immaculate, and it's like, who's going to tell you that unless you go out there and try to ride a bike on them? Like, so stuff like that. But a lot of problem solving, a lot of thinking ahead. Like when you're doing and I do a lot of engineering drawings. You're trying to think of like, this is what I know. How am I explaining this to the contractor pictorially so he's going to know exactly what it is? Because if I don't do this right, and it's a challenge for any engineer because you've been thinking about the design that you've been doing for months and you know what you're trying to say, but a contractor gets something out in the field and he'll read a note. He's like, and that ends up being more RFIs as they call it, which is like on infield request and more work for you during construction if you're not careful about how you word things and not showing things completely. But yeah, a lot of pre-planning, a lot of good stuff. The one thing that did hurt me though as an engineer is we're kind of an oddball group of, a lot of introverts, a lot of like techie people that think a little bit differently. So in addition to writing, I was doing the marketing, the video editing, all of this stuff, which is crazy. So I never bike packed before. So I had to learn all that, get all the equipment. That's what is called bike packing, the niche sport. I was a PC guy, but I found out video editing's easier on Mac. So I got a Mac. So I had to learn how to do Mac. I had to do a lot of bike repairs I never had to do before. Also, I was doing like press releases and interviews and stuff like that. And I'd never done interviews before. I got better and better at the press releases were okay, but like how to talk to TV stations and like
Mm-hmm.
newspapers, that was all foreign to me. That's just something that's not in my world. So it was really good. It felt really good to learn new things, and especially like I'm in my late 30s. Like how much new stuff do you learn in your middle age? But
You're
no,
preaching to the choir here. Like I've completely switched my field of my career path from software engineering to podcasting and music. So
how did that go for you? Was it Did you just like jump into it right away, or did you just kind of
Um, no, it was stumble,
stumble
learn,
around? Yeah.
error. I just figured out that I love music so much, like creating music with AI right now.
Hmm.
So it was very much learning my who I was, what I wanted
That's
to
good.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I completely understand when it's like the engineering mind just like getting to excited over, oh, here's a bunch of things. I spent
Yeah.
20 I spent 20 grand on a bunch of things before I even got any of this
Oh,
started.
really?
So
Oh my. Yeah. I believe it. Yeah, the equipment. Oh my God.
yeah.
That's crazy. But no, it honestly gave me a lot of confidence after. Like I set out to do something very hard that I didn't know I would finish. I gave myself about a 50-50 chance. I started in San Francisco, I ended in DC. I gave myself a 50-50 chance to get to Denver. Like I knew there was like a lot of dangerous stuff. It was going to be very difficult, but and it was. But yeah, and I got through it, and yeah, it was a crazy trip. It was just a crazy trip. So,
What did you see in terms of like what needs to be fixed? Like structurally wise, like how you were able to get there, that kind of thing.
do you want to know more like infrastructure, or you're like political? How
Uh,
do you want to?
more, I would like to get into the infrastructure. I'm just interested to see um, what's missing because I know there's a bunch of. I've been to the U.S. a bunch of times. I know there's a bunch of missing links in the system that just
Mhm.
would help things flow better, people move more, just
Mhm.
general resource help.
Yeah. I'll bring this up first because this was the most concerning. So I was doing a training with a federal guy before the ride, and he was from the Ohio DOT. So, and he told me something crazy, which is they weren't maintaining their bridges well, and so much concrete was peeling off the bridge. They were actually putting like wooden slats at the bottom of the flange of the steel, so concrete wouldn't go through someone's engine block through in their car on the highway. I was like, that's crazy. So I got to Ohio, and I have some family there, so I stopped with some family, and we were driving down the road to go to the grocery store or something, and I'm looking up, and like almost every bridge on Highway 480 had these slats. I'm like, oh my God, this is terrible. And this is, you follow a pretty strict code in engineering. Like that is not in the code. There's
Mm.
no provision of like, if you decided to not take care of your bridge, what do you do if it's actively falling apart on a road that's being used? So that was a little frightening. I have gone back since then. There's less, so they seem to be doing something. The road qualities are interesting. Nevada was the most challenging state. So Nevada, there's for your folks, there's really not a lot of people in northern Nevada. I started in San Francisco, went straight to Lake Tahoe, and then Carson City, and then went straight through to Utah, which is basically on Highway 80.
Mhm.
So I started doing the dirt roads in Nevada, and like they just end sometimes. They're sometimes you're getting shooken so hard because the only thing that drives them is mining equipment that have like teeth
Mm.
on their treads, basically. So I was really worried my laptop was going to break and some of my camera parts. That was rough. Eventually, I ended up just riding in the warning lane on the highway for the second half of the trip. But if you talk to someone from Nevada, they kind of like the people there. They have their job, they have like their fishing hole or ATV spot, and that's it. So like I would be asking like, how is this road like a mile down? And they're like, oh, I think it's fine. And then it was just terrible. Like they didn't know. If
Mhm.
you ask someone from Colorado, they'll give you like a whole readout of the trails. They know like every mountain path. They'll show you like three apps. But yeah, it was interesting like how different people live, and that gave me a different interpretation of how to honestly take instructions based on what state I was in. So that was cool.
It's fair. That's kind of reminiscent of how it is around here. Like
Mm-hmm.
dirt roads, ATVs. Like I bought a truck when I first got here because I'm like
Uh-huh.
I just need four wheels to get
Get
half
through
the
somewhere.
places. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. So let's get into the political now. Like, what did you see that needs to change?
Change. So a lot is the news, and I do want to mention one of the when I started, one of the ideas is I went back to Ohio to see my folks for Christmas, last Christmas, um, and people in Ohio were really, really concerned about the immigration issue. And I'm Ohio shares a water border with Canada. I'm from New Mexico, which obviously shares a border with Mexico. New Mexicans were not as paranoid about this as Ohioans. So I was wondering like why, what is this? So I was curious on my ride to find out like what people thought in different states, and if it's getting news is presented differently more in a locally. So initially I thought it was based kind of on your echo chamber. Maybe you watch the same news program, maybe you're in the same chat room. I think it's more than that now. I do think based on your location, you're getting different news even on a national basis. Um, so I rode when I got to, I would say on my ride, when I got to Missouri, that's when I started hitting like a lot of misinformation about immigration. And I feel like the Midwest was very specifically targeted. One of the examples I want to show you is I went through Nevada, northern Nevada, which is a very deep red state. But they weren't as worried about the immigration issues as some of the other swing states or Midwest states. They were more, Nevada felt like a more of a red state in like a post 9/11 world. People were nice there, but they do have serious problems of racism against Muslims and African Americans. Whereas the Midwest, they were very, very concerned about Mexicans, and I thought that was interesting. And that also that's honestly one of the main reasons I felt like the Midwest seemed to be targeted for that, and maybe because it's a bigger voting area, they did that. But I that I can tell you what I saw. I don't know how it's being implemented or anything like that. But I heard crazy rumors like in Missouri, someone's like, "Yeah, there's millions of people jumping over the border." There's not even a million people in southern New Mexico total. Like that would be incredibly obvious if that happened. Um,
I actually just watched the latest. I don't know if you're watching Pluribus,
mhm,
that Apple TV series. They just showcased like the route to get from like to New Mexico, and
mhm.
it's like 100 miles of like dangerous forest, and you're expecting millions of people going through
It
that.
that's and I'm glad you brought that up. I have not seen that, but that was one of my points when, and I didn't understand this when I lived in the Midwest. When you go out to the desert, there's nothing there. If you say you're in the middle of nowhere in the Midwest, it means you're in a cornfield. There's no water in the desert. No one's moved there. You're going through soft sand for miles and miles. I can't do it, and I feel like I'm in good shape. So there's very specific locations where people come over the border and stuff like that. Um, the wall was just silly. What the news really didn't tell you about building the wall is there was already a wall there, and then they rebuilt a wall that's now easier to climb and smaller. Like it's insane that was not brought up more in the news. Um, but you know that's
And
part of it.
I get the same thing. Like
Yeah.
Canada, we actually have it in our laws, like that says we have to get perfectly curated feeds for Canadians.
Hmm.
Um, Google and Meta go along with it because they don't have a choice. Like all of the platforms go along with it because they don't have a choice.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, like I know it's not just a country on country basis. It gets down to local. Who were the nicest people?
Ooh. Honestly, the experience as a whole was very positive. Everybody was. I've rarely got any rude people, if any.
Mm.
Um, I had. I'll tell you a few stories of people being nice to me. But there was. I was in California near Pollock Pines. I got snowed in, so I had to stay at a motel, and I had to go to Walgreens. And I don't have a car, so I just got out and walked. And it was pouring rain, snow up higher on the mountain, and some lady just stopped and offered to drive me, and that was really nice. I had a guy in Nevada who I talked to about some politics while he was riding his bike, so we talked while riding, and he said, "Well, you need to go to Target. I'll watch your stuff." And he let me go to Target and pick up some more gear. We met my friend's girlfriend right before the trip, and I was telling her about it. We just met, and after 15 minutes, she offered me her tent because I said I didn't have all the gear, and that was awesome. But no, it was honestly like people throughout the whole country were honestly really friendly the whole way to me, and um, yeah, that was really nice to see. To be honest, I'm trying to answer your question. I
Yeah,
can't
no,
pick one out. It was a good experience. Yeah.
and
So,
that's kind of what I kind of wanted to highlight there is how friendly of an experience. If I want my audience to understand that there's two separate realities here. We have online, where you're getting all of this curated hate,
hmm.
and then offline, when you actually go and engage people,
Hmm.
it's not that battle that you think you're having all the time.
It,
Um,
it it really is. It's so right. And I did see a populace that is kind of exhausted by social media too. That's really what I felt like. Like they're just blasting like bad news story after bad news story. Really is affecting people over the country, regardless of who you are and how you feel, and it's causing a lot of apathy. I would say,
mhm.
which is what I think the goal was in the first place as well.
more docile. You don't need to rise up. Canada is getting their guns taken away. It's all
Oh,
happening. It's
really?
all good. Oh yeah.
All this stuff. Oof.
It's funny because the government keeps on saying it's like for the good. We're trying to remove the illegal guns off the road by targeting legal gun owners, and it's
Yeah,
like
yeah. Ugh.
it makes no sense. But it is the reality we live in. How do we engage the apathetic?
I mean, there needs to be a strong push of organization. I think at the beginning, I really didn't see anybody. I was like the only guy out there doing anything at the beginning. The country changed drastically during the ride. I started April 20th. I ended August 17th, I believe. So by the end, there was more resistance, but the government responds to protest and boycotts very powerfully. They're both very powerful, and I think they've done a lot to try to convince people that that stuff doesn't work, and it really does. And you have to explain how bad the situation is. The one thing I would send a message to the Midwest is like the immigration issue is not that bad. This is I got the impression from talking to people in the Midwest they think Pancho Villa is running around here with like the bullets just strapped to his thing on a horse, just raiding stuff. It's all over exaggerated. So I think the education part of the Ride for Rights is really important, and the realization that like this is a really important. We are all in a very significant era right now as far as history goes, and like you have a responsibility how you want to treat people, how you want your life to be, how you want your kids' life to be, and you need to participate and get out, and that's important. And it sucks that we have to live through this, but that was not our choice either way. But
I I heard a great conversation just the other day about young people need to get back out to the bars and just kill their liver to really just kind of understand like community and getting together
yeah,
and that reality of like you can just be people and not worry so much.
I know.
Um,
Yeah, there. I see where you're going with that. Yeah, I kind of like that. I it's the newer generation. They really don't go out that much. We would go out like all the time when I was a young guy, and
I remember the same like yeah like I think the main difference that came down to it was um, we instilled way too much fear into the
mm,
youth. Like even when we were growing up, I remember that fear of stranger
mhm.
danger. Like stay in the house,
Yeah,
don't pick up the
don't do
phone, don't
this.
answer the door.
Yeah,
Yeah. But then on top of that, we started shaming people for doing
mhm.
the dumb shit.
Yeah.
We
Oh
really
yeah, I
just
remember that.
right like we put everything we did online because we were having fun sharing moments with our friends and hoping it would be like a time capsule or a memory book
Mhm.
or and it turned out to be just like this curated
Yeah.
tool that you could use to sentence somebody years in the future for
It's so ridiculous. The internet when we were kids was fun. Like it was a cool place. You like got to explore things. It was a cool new place. You know what you're gonna find. You could talk to all your friends, which was great since
Mhm.
it's too young to have a car or something. But yeah, now it's just so toxic. So
I've started really getting into AI because that's where I've started feeling that fun again,
mhm,
that love, that stupidity. I equate a lot of the AI slop to kids just learning
mhm.
because that's what we did. I remember the cringy stuff we posted online,
Oh yeah, yeah.
like these. Oh, I'll put it on screen for our users, but like the MySpace cringed out like HTML websites that you could
Mhm.
have.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah. We did. Oh my
right?
god.
Like it's all learning, and we're gonna have like a new explosion of that. And I just want us to connect more in human.
More,
I think.
yeah. I don't think you can like you need human connection. I mean, you can't live online. And I do think some of these like online commentators you see spend their whole day in their house and do that. That I can't prove that obviously, but it
Yeah.
feels like it when they talk. They did. I do want to, since you mentioned fear, I do want to bring this point up because I think it's very important. When I was going through the states, I was getting told a lot and looking at different stuff, and I really got a better look at the propaganda you're receiving based on your like political beliefs. So if you're liberal, you're getting a lot more propaganda that makes you feel rageful and angry. If you're conservative, the propaganda you're getting is more to make you feel apathetic or fearful. And that's very dangerous. And you kind of saw it when Charlie Kirk got shot. So before they even knew who killed him, before they did anything, the news was saying, "Oh, these people are dangerous. These people are dangerous. We need to do something." And that's kind of the plan. Like they're trying to goad people into being violent on the liberal side, and then on the conservative side, they're trying to convince people this is so dangerous, we have to take rights away. And that's a lot of the playbook, and that's awful. Like, I mean, the people that are doing that is terrible. Like you're basically trying to incite violence to gain more control. I mean, that's essentially what's happening there. But yeah, realize that like the misinformation you read online, it's not about necessarily misinforming you, but it's about manipulating your emotions. And it's important when you look at social media, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make you feel something. If you go on YouTube and watch an old news report from like 20 years ago, they're not like saying like, "Oh, you should be mad about this." They're just telling you like a few stats, and then you can decide for yourself. But that's not what news is, unfortunately, right now. So I think
I
that's go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to equate it. I'm like, I learned a lot from the therapist about how to deal with social media, because it's like clearing up your mind. The rabbit hole you choose to go down is yours.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'll say it. I am not. So that was another thing I had to learn. I'm not a big social media guy. Like I'm pretty extroverted, so I had to do social media for the first time here, and that was something different and being exposed to a lot of that. Because I would do Reddit a little bit, but that's about it. But then like going through my Instagram feed and like how addicting it is too, and you're flipping up and you're just reading like you're just doom scrolling too. It's like, oh my god.
I
So
think I got lucky during the period of like peak rise in social media. I I was without internet. Thankfully,
mhm,
I was in the middle of nowhere, and I think I missed that whole growing up with it that everybody
mhm.
did. So I think I got lucky because I still don't understand social media at all. I
Oh,
just I just use it.
yeah.
But yeah, for a long time, I never really engaged, and now I'm engaging, and I'm like, I have no clue how to grow. I have no clue how to do this stuff,
I know it
but
was.
I'm learning.
Yeah, it was frustrating when I was doing it because I was trying to do that to announce the ride. So the way the rides would go is I'd ride town to town, and when I hit a big city, I would do like a group ride, which would be like a couple miles. You could bring like kids, like like a family friendly protest. That was kind of the idea of it. Um, but the only way I could promote is really social media. Most of the news articles I'd get in came out after I left by a day or two. So I did like struggle to get the word out and get people. I got better at it by the end, but I definitely could have used a team of social media and press that would have helped the situation quite a bit. So again, another learning by doing. Learning
Very fair.
yeah.
What What do you hope for the next coming year? Like everybody's talking about 2028. What are you hoping for?
I honestly, I'm hoping that people really wake up and realize this is bad. Like this could get really bad. I mean, the Alligator, Alcatraz, and the camps they're making are should be taken with the utmost seriousness. And I hope people get out and protest, and that will make things change. Um, there's a lot of concern about there. As much as it was a positive experience, I did run across a lot of concerning people. They were a minority, but they're a concerning minority, and people need to realize like this is happening. We need to like teach people that like, look, this is the how you treat people. We don't need to disassociate the word immigrant from like an actual human being, which has happened quite a bit.
Yeah.
And that's what I hope for. We do need. While Trump's still in charge, it's not going to change. The goal here is to gain power, and that has become obvious to me. Um, but yeah, to get more people to realize what's going on and to get people out and protest, and that will cause change. And I think I see a lot happening. There was another walkout with students from a high school who were protesting ICE from raiding that. Um, there was a lot more interest than when I started. When I got to DC, I got to DC on August, at the mid August. So I was actually there the first weekend the National Guard got put there. Um, and I was the only one protesting. Like, I do think the National Guard got sent to other cities because DC basically lied down and took it. Like, there was much of really no resistance that I saw. Um, that was a wild day because they showed up on, I think they showed up on a Tuesday. So I was there that first weekend. I got there on a Saturday. So a lot of the Virginians, when I posted, they were like, "Oh, good luck," but they weren't going to show up because no one knew what that meant. If you didn't live in DC, once the guard came in, you weren't going there, so it scared a lot of people away. So I was a little anxious. I had a couple people ride with me. That was the last day ride in DC, and I get there, and it was just such a bizarre thing. Like they were just messing around. Like they weren't going to, and I did this on my YouTube video. They were not going to dangerous areas of DC to actually theoretically stop crime if they were there.
Yeah.
They were messing around acting as tourists in the Washington Square there. I rode by the equipment. No one was guarding it. I could have climbed all over it and no one would have stopped me. I got there on a Friday. I stayed with my friend that I rode Saturday. On Friday, a lot of them were huddling under a tree because it was really hot and they were over there. Other people were just literally doing tourist activities. Like the National Guard was actively doing nothing there the whole time. Like absolutely nothing.
There's your tax dollars at work, people.
That's what my buddy who rode with me the last day is like. So we're paying for this? Like that was his first comments about. It wasn't about anything or right. It was just like it's a colossal waste of money and it was done for PR. I will point out when I was in college, I went around Chicago area, and there was a huge gang violence issue. This was like via 2009 2010. So the government did have to do something to get rid of the gang violence. So they ended up sending the SWAT team in, and they went to the south side of Chicago, which is dangerous. If you look at what the National Guard does, they're hanging out at like Millennium Park in Chicago. So it's not to do anything. It's all theater for this thing, which is concerning. So
Trump likes to showcase big things, right?
Yeah.
So the one other thing I wanted to say here is, as bad as all of this is, I think this is a culmination of a lot of good intent, apathy, ignorance building up over years, and I'm excited to see what comes next as in terms of institutions, because right now, as soon as you get out Trump, I was going to call him AI. Once you get him out, you have to rebuild everything. Everything's tainted.
It is tainted, but the people that work there still, I don't believe it's so bad yet that there's stuff that's gone. There does seem to be things that need to be rebuilt, but there is still staff members that are working at those organizations that know what they're supposed to be doing before, they did that. Like I was talking to my friend who was the nurse, and there's a few medical guidelines, and now they say on their website, like, this is not what the CDC recommends, but we recommend this. So there is still people that are competent, that know what they're doing, that are out there that can start functioning, using the federal agencies to function appropriately again. There will be hiccups in the future, though, for sure.
Are you hopeful for AI?
I am. So in my profession, there's a lot of variables that goes into civil and structural engineering, so we can't use it yet. It's not quite that sophisticated. It is really nice for writing those BS letters you have to write at work. It's like, but I'm hopeful. I think there's a lot of cool things. I've used a couple AI stuff to do some quick things for the Ride for Rights too, which is nice. And I think it's a good technology. You got to use technology as a tool, no matter what you have. If you can use anything for positive or negative, it doesn't matter. It's your responsibility, and to some extent the government's responsibility to regulate, to make sure it's not used inappropriately. But it's something new. It's something that we need, that hasn't got talked about a lot because of the other stuff going on in the country, but you kind of need like a younger, more tech savvy government to like really find out how to use this, how to regulate it appropriately, but to make it fair for everybody else as well. But I am excited about it. I think it's a really cool tool overall.
For our audience out there, I would definitely go and check out what's happening in Albania. I think it is. They have a digital an AI PM now.
I heard about that.
Yeah. So I'd be interesting. That's going to be an interesting use case. And the other story I wanted to point people towards is what happened in Nepal in September. They toppled their government for corruption, and completely rebuilt the infrastructure. Completely rebuilt the government from the ground up. So that's what Trump fears right now. That's why the National Guard's out there for parade, is to fear that retribution.
Hmm. I agree. Yeah, it's crazy. I did want to tell one more story while I was on here that I think is very important. A little switching gears. So I was in Indiana. I was talking to a lady from Germany, and she was very obviously from Germany. She had a very hard German accent, and she'd been here for about 20 years. And she was talking to her coworkers, and her coworkers like, "Oh, isn't it glad? Aren't you glad there's going to be no more immigrants here?" In which she just responded like, "Thanks." But so that's wild. But I do want to point out, and I came across this a lot. The word immigrant does not mean to a lot of people someone that came from another country. A it is a word they substitute as a slur for people of brown people, essentially, like that. And that was scary. Um, I got a lot of comments online I saw about from like countries outside of America, like you're a country of immigrants. Why are you going against it? And that's why it doesn't mean immigrant. It's just it's a slur for brown people. And I think that was very smart in the sense that like you're told like racism is bad as you're a kid, like you're not supposed to say stuff, but like they're getting people to substitute this word, and a lot of people don't know they're doing it, but that's what they're talking, like the lady that I just told you about, like she didn't realize she was doing it. But they substitute that word, but there is a part of Americans that know exactly what they're talking about when they say it. And that was a little
Nick
frightening
Fuentes.
too. And I do think one of the goals should be like to rehumanize people who are immigrants who did do good stuff, because a lot of the honestly the reputation of immigrants in New Mexico, which we have a lot because we're right on the border, they kind of keep to themselves. They do stuff. There was always an argument about like, should the kids be allowed to go to school, because if they're illegal they don't pay tax dollars, and luckily people were nice enough, like we should not be punishing a 5-year-old, like send them to school, it's fine.
Yes.
But yeah,
And
this is
that kid's gonna grow up and be a healthy American that's gonna
yeah,
work.
yeah.
And yeah, the separation I want to give for Canadians on here is we use immigrant to classify our refugees, because we
Oh,
took in
okay.
a lot of refugees,
Mhm.
and it's not the immigrants that are causing our system problems; it's the
The
refugees that are
refugees
taking
problem.
advantage of it.
Refugees are an interesting thing, because there's a lot of contracts within the EU and the US of how to handle refugees, and you feel awful for them. Like usually their country just exploded. That's why they're a refugee in the first place. But they're not people that come here willingly. They usually are here to make money. They have very specific goals, and they're usually actually pretty highly motivated. So there's really not as much crime as they're less likely to be criminals than regular Americans or other people. When you have a refugee, you just have someone who's probably not happy to be there, but they're like, I'm gonna die if I stay where
Yeah.
I am and do that.
So
Um, I went to Haiti about 15 years ago, and one of my good friends, he used to run a mission in Haiti, and that country was it. I never understood a third world country till I went there. It's interesting to know and see the numbers of how little people make or how little people are housed, but when you actually go there and see the dysfunction, you realize like, oh, this is not going to get better.
yeah,
Um, but one of the things happened that Trump did during his first administration is he yanked a lot of money out of the UN. That money was going to the UN soldiers in Haiti. So when he yanked the money out of Haiti, that's when the country collapsed, because they essentially had only a UN army keeping the country to no army or police like overnight. And then, yeah, the country
yeah.
collapsed and it was awful. But then Trump also approved a lot of refugees going to Springfield, Ohio, which he then during his next the next election cycle, he then blamed them for eating the dogs and the cats, which is insane. Like you made a decision to collapse their government, then you actually I don't know if he did or someone did the nice thing and let them come to America. You didn't have to do it. They
Yeah.
could have got another contract to go to another country, and then you spread like these ridiculous lies about like they're eating like people's pets, which is an insane proposition. So uh,
It's funny you mentioned that, because I actually got to interview Jack Brewster. I'll
mhm.
put the thing up here for the audience
Yeah.
about he was the one who broke that story about the Springfield thing. He broke down like where it came from and everything. I
Hmm.
got to interview him about that story. It was quite interesting.
That's
Tale
wild.
of
Yeah.
lies. Yeah,
Ugh.
it came from a source of a source of a source, like a third party hearsay thing, and it just blew up from there.
I remember reading I think the closest main newspaper to Springfield was the Akron Beacon Journal. So I remember I looked up an article on them, and you could tell the reporters like, I have no idea where this comment came from. Like she was just grabbing it. So I was like, one lady said she was missing her cat, but we couldn't really find. It was odd.
I do want to just add on to the Haiti topic. I've been going to Cuba for over 15 years.
Hmm.
My parents have a nonprofit out of there called A Lot of Love for Cuba.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, like the level of what you see on the resorts compared to like what you see in town, like these people live not like us. Like they base it. Half of them don't even have power. So you got to understand, like that's not a good place to be in. And to your point, when Trump came in, he pulled the goodwill that Obama put in for the embargo on Cuba as well. So it
Hmm.
ended up hurting a lot of countries in the Caribbean.
Yeah, it's like the level of cruelty for like what is the benefit of this too is kind of outrageous. Like
He lost anyways because now China's trying to court Cuba for their satellite station. So
wonderful, wonderful. So, like, they
this is a
did.
perfect place to end off. I just want to ask: is there anything you'd like to leave the audience with? Any calls to action or any place people can reach you?
Yeah, so I have a website, ride4rights.com with the number four. I have all my links are on that website. I have a YouTube, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Reddit. You can search and you should get me. I do YouTube videos. It's focusing more on the education than the cycling now, but you can watch every day I cycled on YouTube. What I got planned is I'm doing a whole video. We talked about a bit of it about what I saw in each state and what people believe in each state and what they're doing. So I'm working on that. I'm working on an immigration video because I also found out no one actually knows how the visa system works when I'm on there. So I'm that should be coming out next. And then in the future, one of the things also we didn't get to talk about, I'm still researching it. I'm working with some of the Native Americans that live around me. And the Trump administration has done quite a lot to try to erase their culture and history, which has gone completely under the radar. So I'll be doing a video about that. But the message is and always was like, I mean, it's not about Trump, it's about you. Like the world, life is not a roller coaster that you're just strapped to and you have to deal with it. You have agency and power, and don't let people think you differently, make you think differently. Like get out there, go protest, be active, write letters to your senator, participate in boycotts. This has worked every single time. It will work again. This is not going to be an easy fix, and you do have a responsibility to yourself as well as like your kids and your neighbors to try to make this place livable and not let people slide into an era where we're not allowed to talk about things, or an era where your rights and safety are at risk because all these agencies are down. Yeah, so my message to you, please follow me, but also like more importantly, like get out there, like really be active.
And I'll make sure all of that information is description below. I thank you very much for coming on here. It was very fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed talking to you. Thanks for having me.
And to everybody out there, stay weird.